Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name is Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning in to the day's energies, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. All right, let's dive right in. The overall energy of this reading is the High Priestess in reverse. This energy is not utilizing their intuition. This is someone feels like more dogmatic ways of looking at spirituality. So it feels like it's not spirituality. It could be religious, dogmatic religious, using fear and control. Can you hear that revving of the engine next door? This energy feels loud, disruptive. It's hard to find your peace because it's so loud. The way this energy is running. So loud. Nothing else is permitted. The High Priestess upright is someone who has unlimited potential, no limits. Someone who has tuned into subtle energies, their subtle energies, and understands how to interpret, how to follow your intuition. With the High Priestess in reverse, it's some structure, a belief structure that you need to fit into. It's so loud and overbearing that you can't hear your subtle energies. You can't tune into because you're trying to fit into some environment. So, feels like what I'm talking about is a rigid, structured belief system versus spirituality. Looking at controlling, not attuning into your own intuition, but tuning into others and need to fit into an environment, not belonging, but fitting into, which is very different. It looks like that this way of being does not lead to happily ever after. Leads to a lot of unhappiness, a lack of celebration, a lack of joy. A lot of unfulfilled and repressed emotions, because you have to fit in this environment of High Priestess in reverse. Emotions are deemed as bad. So you're not allowed to have uncomfortable emotions. You don't learn what those emotions mean, what those feelings mean. You just have to suppress and repress them. There's also a repression, suppressing of your voice. It doesn't feel like you can communicate your dissatisfaction in this type of environment. You're not allowed to disagree as well. Not allowed to ask difficult questions. It looks like there's this fiery energy coming in. Very courageous energy. Wanting to make moves. It feels like wanting to break free from this restrictive way of being. Oh, individual confidence does not work unless you're all in agreement what you're working towards. I get this feeling like the viewer, you, who I'm talking to, might be more of an independent thinker, or you've been in this type of restrictive environment where you're following a way of being, trying to fit into a group mentality and way of perceiving the world. It feels like you might be switching this up. You might be shifting into something more individual, making some moves. Interesting. Well, let's move on, shall we? In the hidden blessings, you've got the Wheel of Fortune. Ooh. There's something about being in flow state at this time that's really helping you. It feels like you can really, like, blessings are coming to you. Whatever you put out into the universe is coming back, and it's positive, it's uplifting. What does the viewer need to know about hidden? Thank you. Yeah. So there's rushed communication coming in. You're doing really well. Wheel of Fortune. Look at that. High Priestess again, but this time upright. Unlimited potential. Secretive. It feels like it is hidden. It feels like you're following your intuition. The overall energy is not following intuition. But hidden blessing is you are intuitive. You're following your intuition. It feels like you're keeping this quiet. With the way the image is, you've got your back turned. There's a message coming in. It feels very abrupt, sudden. You're in flow state. You're following your intuition. Feels like you're keeping this to yourself. But there's some message coming in. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like whatever this message is, feels like you're unmovable. Whatever this message is. What's this message? Wow, Wheel of Fortune again. You are in a very fortunate time. Very powerful, very empowering. Things are going your way. Things are lined up. And this message is coming in from someone who's not happy. Things are not going well. They're feeling very stuck, and they're seeing you having success, and this is making them feel very insecure. It feels like this person's coming in with some type of message. Someone's coming in. This definitely makes sense with Mars in retrograde. There's a lot of fiery war, tempers flaring type of energy. Feels like someone doesn't recognize, doesn't understand that you're in this high priestess energy, very intuitive. And it feels like whatever they're trying to say, they're trying to get you to join them out of attunement, out of alignment. They're trying to, with their words, it feels like words with communication, they want you to be where they are. Come down to where I am. Come down to how miserable I am. Misery does love company. And it feels like someone who's very insecure, and you're having wins, having victories. they're stuck, really stuck, unable to really make any kind of change. And instead of focusing on, wow, maybe I should shift something, let me figure my stuff out, it feels like this person, instead of working on themselves, they come in and try to block you, try to get you to stop feeling blessed, stop being blessed. You, with this high priestess energy, it feels like you're on to the game of what they're trying to do. And I don't think you're going to allow anyone to block you from what's coming in. They're trying to make their belief systems, their very rigid belief systems, where we were starting in the past, yours. They don't want you to succeed. There's something about you succeeding in your intuition does not jive with their belief system, a very rigid belief system. This could be a family dynamic, a social way of society, family, cult. It feels a very restrictive type of religious beliefs. And it feels like you're on the other side, that you are intuitive. You're aligned with your intuition, listening to your subtle energies. And it's created a lot of luck. Wheel of Fortune twice in hidden blessings. And it feels like you're very discerning. You recognize when someone's trying to come in and upset your apple cart, because the belief systems that they're in, you should not be successful. It doesn't jive. You being an independent thinker, you being an independent high priestess, does not jive with these people, this person's belief system. And so instead of questioning their beliefs, they want to block you from success. So their beliefs will be right. Wow. This is someone desperate to cling on to a belief system instead of creating different beliefs, growing, expanding. All right. What you're leaving behind is Ace of Swords in reverse. Lies, deception, half-truths. Feels like to be in this very restrictive environment, very controlling about how group think. You're not allowed to think these things or do this way. You have to behave in this very structured way, very limited. Feels like everybody's deceiving. You have to lie to yourself to fit in. It feels like it's just inherently a deceptive type of environment. There's no room for truth because we've got to upstand these beliefs. The beliefs are so important. Without the beliefs, what do we have? It's kind of that. So the beliefs are uplifted, instead of reality, instead of learning a new way, reworking things, learning as we go. It's a very stagnant type of environment. It creates a lot of injustices too. There's a lot of injustices. It looks like that's what you're leaving behind. And a lot of fighting. It feels like there's fighting between this belief, whoever this group is, and every other group, because we're the right ones. And then there's infighting within because you're not showing up as what the group, there's a lot of judgment, and it just feels like a lot of arguing about who can emulate this and fit in best in this belief system. It's a lot of arguing. A lot of people who are unapologetic about their behavior, because their behavior somehow is like toxic behavior is supported by the belief systems. And so a lot of people can hide their cruelty because their belief system supports it. And so it even feels like leaving behind people who just, it's a lack of compassion that I'm tuned into. That's heartbreaking. It feels like you're also leaving behind people that operate in these rigid belief systems, lack emotional maturity, sometimes lacking empathy. And there's no freedom in this space. And it feels like there's a lot of gossiping about each other, but people aren't communicating clearly if you have a problem with someone, because conflict leads to someone winning and someone losing, versus conflict leading to more deeper understanding of each other and more connection, more communication, more understanding, which creates, that type of belief system creates more expansion. More understanding. This is a very restrictive environment, very toxic. It feels like there's a lot of enablers in this environment as well. You can't stick out. You can't be a problem. You have to fit in. Kind of like how JJ is, my birds. Feels like you're leaving behind a lot of that type of energy. Whew. All right. How to get the most of this energy is the Ten of Wands. It looks like you've been carrying the emotional burdens. You've been very burdened by being in this environment. This environment it feels like the role that you play in this very toxic, controlling environment is where you're made responsible for how other people feel. Which is a complete lack of maturity, emotional maturity. When someone is mature in their emotions, they know that they're responsible for how they feel. They don't need to center their emotions and have everyone care about their emotions. That's each individual's job. A mature, emotionally mature person recognizes that when you are activated, when you're triggered by something in your environment, someone else, that trigger, that activation is telling you that, hey, look here, something's going on for you to examine. There could be emotional responses could tell you that a boundary's been crossed, that something has shifted, that there's an unconscious agreement that you don't want, that needs to be addressed, that you don't, it's reminding you, activating something from your past. It could be a multitude of reasons why you are having a reaction. When in closed, controlling environments like the one I'm tuned into, people don't take responsibility for their own activations, their own triggering. They make others have to walk on eggshells and be responsible for how the people up top, the people in charge, are feeling. You need to make me happy. You need to make me comfortable. You need to change everything about you so I am comfortable in my emotions, in my environment. It's not conducive to growth at all. And it's not even helpful for really on a soul level, on any level, for the person that everybody's placating to, playing towards. It's not helping, it's enabling that person to stay in a very stunted way of being. All right, what's supporting you is the Four of Cups in reverse. Feels like I'm tuned into someone who's lost interest. There's a dissatisfaction here. This isn't what I thought this place was. This isn't what I thought these people were. Feels like people have told this person that what's in these bowls is love, and that you don't receive this as love means there's something might be wrong with you. I think you don't receive this way of being that I've been describing as loving because it isn't. Because you feel empty, because you don't feel loved, you don't feel fulfilled, you don't feel supported. What does the viewer need to know about what's supporting them? I'm also getting the feeling like you feel very unsupported in this environment. I feel like you don't feel supported when you're in a environment that's High Priestess in reverse, very toxic, controlling of beliefs, controlling of how you show up, controlling environments. It's not supportive of the soul. It's supportive of the belief systems. So inherently, I don't feel like anybody really feels supported in this environment, because it's uplifting of beliefs instead of beings, human beings, sentient beings. It's very interesting looking at the energy of uplifting a structure, a rigid way of believing, instead of supporting the beings that are in that rigid support structure. Nobody's feeling supported. No one's feeling loved in this environment. Wow, 10 of Wands in reverse. Feels like everybody's feeling very burdened in this environment, in this toxic group. Feels like they're just unburdening themselves to each other. No one's feeling supported, though. Wow. Okay. It looks like wow. It looks like when you start making new choices, when you stop carrying the burdens of this environment, of this way of being, when you realize this is not my burden to carry, it's not my job to support everyone around me. Feels like when you deconstruct from this way of being, let go of it, release the burdens, that new opportunities, new choices come in. That's also was in what's hidden, that you have your own intuition, your own attunement, and it feels like you're not fitting in, or you've deconstructed, separated from a group. It depends, as a group reading. So it feels like some of you have already made the split, has already deconstructed, and some of you are just leaving, or still kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out of this group. Feels like when you release the burdens, when you realize that this is not for you, this rigid way of being, that new opportunities come in, a lot of success as you face your fears, a lot of stability and security, feeling confident. I think people in these rigid environments emulate what they think confidence looks like, cosplaying as someone confident. There's a difference between someone who really is truly confident, because they've faced fears. They understand where they are. They understand their strengths. They understand their weaknesses. They understand what they're working with, what's pretty solid in their space, at least right now. It looks like when you let go of rigid structures and rigid environments, that things shift huge. You make different choices. You allow yourself to be happy. Go after what you desire. It feels like a glow up. People supporting you. Sure, there's going to be people not wanting you to have this success, but they're still in this old way of thinking, is what I'm getting. This looks really amazing. You have a lot of support when you let go of trying to fit in an environment and allow and trust yourself to be your authentic self. It makes all the difference. There's definitely this energy here that you hear a lot from Abraham Hicks or Bashar about following your desire, following your passion, being your authentic self. Wow. All right. What to be mindful of is, here we've got the Strength card again. Inner strength, courage. Boy, this is a lot of confidence. Instead of having some type of outside force that's giving you saying that this is supportive, but really it's restrictive of individuals. Wow, this is so much confidence coming in. Real confidence. Very powerful energy here. Wow. Okay. There's something also about shining. And if you hear the motor starting, revving up, it feels like there are people who want to drown out your messages. They don't want people to see how confident you are, because it's bad for business. It's bad for whatever group this is if you have success. It feels like if you have success, then the belief systems aren't believing. And again, it feels like people in these groups are more concerned with the beliefs and uplifting and keeping and maintaining these rigid belief systems instead of caring for each other, caring for individuals, caring for beings. It looks like you're not accepting any offer from the group. There's an Ace of Pentacles in reverse. That feels like a no to an opportunity. The challenge is healing. There's some opportunity that you're saying no to. What's this opportunity? Okay, I get what. So it feels like it's an invitation. Like, come on back. Or someone trying to get into your space, trying to connect with you. I get the feeling that whoever this is that's coming into your space, maybe giving you an offer. It feels like they're from this stuck energy. And what I'm getting is that their fears and pain, their belief systems are more practiced than your peace. It doesn't mean that their beliefs are true or more valid than your belief systems. It's just that they're more practiced. The fear and worry about what you're doing is more practiced than your peace, than your belief system. So I've had this happen recently in the last couple months where I met someone new to my environment whose fear was much more practiced, had a lot more momentum behind it than my peace. And the moment I felt like, oh, she could really talk me into believing like she does, because my peace is not as practiced. I don't have years and decades of peace, of momentum, where she had decades of fear and control practiced in her space. And I just recognized, and I was like, I think I've got to go. So I didn't try to convince her, I just realized, her beliefs are very solid, have a lot of momentum. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking my peace and going elsewhere, and go with peace or go in fear. Go however you want, just go. There's something here about just recognizing, not trying to force your point of view, not trying to convince anyone that how you're seeing things is correct. Feels like if you even enter in those type of conversations, you've lost before you even began. If someone can't or doesn't want to join you in your peace, in your perspective, that's fine. Okay, see ya. We don't have to, they're not bad. They're not, this is just trusting that the right people show up. And when it's time, people leave. There's something here about not trying to convince others, not trying to evangelize, convince others that this is the right way. What I'm tuned into, high priestess energy, is like the calling comes from inside the house. And so if they don't have a calling to this way of being independent, then let them live their life. Let them live their life. Trusting that we are eternal beings, this life that we are experiencing as this avatar is a limited experience. It's finite. It will end. And with knowing that it ends, but you do not end, you continue on in a different form. And so do they. Everybody's souls are well. Nobody is going to lose their soul. Because we are our soul. That's our consciousness. We are an energetic being, an awareness. But having this finite experience. And so it isn't about controlling and needing everyone to be in agreement with how you're perceiving your world. Allowing those who want to experience and are still in lesson and learning from this experience of being in a rigid, controlling environment. There's a lot to learn from that. I've been in these environments. I've learned a lot from them. I've learned a lot about myself, about who I'd prefer to be. So there's no rush. And there's no need to change anybody's mind, to evangelize, to heal people. It feels like you do your thing and you allow everybody to do theirs. Also, energetically, karmically, that's running your energy very neutrally. You don't need people to show up in a certain way so you can feel comfortable with yourself and feel confident about who you are. So that's true confidence. Not needing others to believe the way you see things. Just trusting in your own vision, trusting in yourself. So, all right, if this reading has been resonating and you want to continue on with this journey, there's a link in the description box below. It takes you right to Patreon for part 2 of this reading. I'm halfway through. And in part 2, we'll look at health, relationships, creativity, new opportunities, and career and finance. So I'll see you over there for those of you who want to join. And for those of you who I'm leaving here, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here.